What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues. Today, we're going to take you back to 2020 when this movie that we're going to be talking about was supposed to come out. We're talking about Morbius, all right? The movie that was supposed to come out in, I think it was June 2020, pushed back like 4 times, all the way to April 1st, 2022. Is it the biggest joke to happen on April 1st? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll discuss this, but it's not just me that's here. We've got me, Ben Rayside.
Me, Ethan Wetzloff.
And me, Micah Het.
Gentlemen, how are we doing on this fine Saturday evening?
I'm doing good, man. I got some good sleep, and I'm ready to talk about my new favorite Marvel movie.
Just got home from my
I hope the
vacation.
grub here is good.
Very nice, very nice little snippet in there for the only part that I really went there for. To be honest, I was there for the post-credit scene. Let's just be honest, because when it comes to Sony Marvel films, other than Spider-Man, we're really just here to see how this connects to everything else. Let's just be very honest. The 2 Venom movies, I really do not like both of those movies. I think I know that Ethan says the very same thing. Micah, how do you feel about those 2 Venom movies beforehand?
I've only seen Venom. I haven't seen Let There Be Carnage yet.
Did you like Venom?
Venom, I thought, I saw it in theaters. I've only seen it once. So my opinion on Venom was like, yeah, it was pretty good. I like the action, whatever. I didn't care too much for the acting, but the things between Venom and whatever the Venom guy's name is, I don't remember.
That's the thing.
Grace.
I don't know if any Topher Grace.
That's the only name that came to my brain right there. But yeah, the Tom Hardy, that's his name.
There we go.
His character. However they interacted with each other, I thought it was pretty good. Funny and sweaty. Yeah. I remember he was sweaty, got tater tots thrown at him.
These movies are so interesting because even during this movie, I'm sitting here thinking, my main thought is, yo, where's Spider-Man? When's he showing
Honestly,
up here?
yeah.
When's he showing? These are Marvel villains. So anyway, yeah, we're not here to talk about Venom. We're here to talk about...
When was Spider-Man showing up and when was Vulture showing up? Those were my 2 for this movie.
And it surprised... well... We'll save it, boys. Let's get into our first...
Do we want to start with the end credit scenes?
Do we? Do we
want to? I don't know. I don't know if I want to go the whole movie without talking about those.
Does anyone have like a synopsis of the movie in case someone hasn't seen it and doesn't want to see it? And
all right,
save a couple
I will
bucks.
break it down.
Yeah.
All right.
So Joker recasted as Michael Morbius, and then you have Doctor Who, Matt Smith, in your 2 lead roles. They both were born with problems in their legs, and they can't walk right. And then that is the whole plot of the movie. They want to cure their legs, or I think they're dying, right?
They have a rare blood disorder that both of them have, and they need, like, he's been looking for a cure the whole film, and he finally finds it in this weird genetic blood.
It wasn't even the whole film. It was
about 3 minutes. 3 minutes of the film, maybe.
That's true. Well, okay, so Ethan, what'd you think about the movie then? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What's going on? I think I can tell already by your demeanor.
I just want to come on and say this. As a film, Morbius is Morbius. It's not anything special, but I just feel extra cheated by Sony and all the promotional stuff leading up to this film. You go back 2 years, go watch that trailer, the one that dropped 2 years ago.
It's hype.
Half the stuff that happens in that trailer doesn't happen in this movie.
Where's the Oscorp Tower? Where's the Spider-Man poster on
I forgot about the Oscorp Tower.
You didn't see it in the film, did you? It's not in there.
It's not there. And there were so many shots of the city in that movie.
I felt like...
Especially over that one building.
Yes. I felt like
and the part...
Davis, when are they going to show something that we can see? Like, something that we know, Except for
and
Horizon
the part that really got me...
Cool. I like that.
So the director, Daniel Espinosa, he, in the interviews, also he spoiled the Michael Keaton thing in the end.
Yeah,
he spoiled that. And when asked about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, he said he had no idea why Sony put that in the trailer. That was not part of the film.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So I just feel so cheated by Sony because they have to manipulate fans of the MCU to go see these movies. And that just ultimately felt like the whole thing because you have Michael Keaton in every trailer and he doesn't appear till after the credits roll. It just feels like I was robbed of.
If I wasn't set up to believe that this was going to be a tie-in to the Spider-Man movies more, if it weren't, if it were more integrated into Spider-Man like they promised it would be in the trailers, I feel like it would be bumped up a couple more points.
Yeah.
But we'll get to the
completely agree.
end,
Yeah.
But for me, I would have enjoyed the movie a bit more, knowing, oh, okay, so I don't have to expect anything Spider-Man in this at all.
Like, regardless how stupid the end credit scene turned out being, just not knowing Michael Keaton's in this movie and you see that, you're at least like, your interest is a lot more piqued than
Absolutely.
it would have been.
Oh, yeah.
So Micah, you largely feel. Well, hold on, Ethan. You largely feel negative about this film.
I am almost all negative about
Almost
this
all.
film. Yeah.
Okay.
Almost all negative.
Micah, are you?
Do
you
we
in
want
that
to give
camp?
scores now? Do we want to give scores now? Like, are you sub 5?
Okay, all right. Well, hold on. Let's talk it out. Let's talk
Whoa.
it out because
Okay.
well,
I'm getting
Micah,
sub 5 vibes from Ethan.
What do you?
All right,
you
so
thinking?
I'm looking at this movie as, okay, there's no Spider-Man stuff. They set us up, whatever. Okay, years down the road, we're gonna watch this again. We're gonna be like, okay, it's Morbius, whatever. I would say, it was good. It wasn't good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say, oh, that was a good movie, but I would say, yeah, it wasn't bad, in my opinion. I don't think it was bad. I think that the dialogue sure was terrible. That's the weakest part of the movie, but the CG I thought was very impressive, especially for a Sony movie, because the Sony budgets are a lot smaller than the MCU budgets, and it shows. You can see certain spots if you're looking for it. You can find cracks in the CGI. I noticed especially in the helicopter in the first scene. That was the worst part, and I was like, now I got to pay attention to the CGI in this movie and when it's bad.
Oh, geez.
But I didn't see anything bad after that, so it was good. They hide it a lot with that weird vampire line thing, so that's cool. And then I liked the fight scenes. The fight scenes were awesome. I really dig that first fight scene, and then the finale fight scene was, meh to good.
Yeah.
Weakest main character, I didn't like Matt Smith. I didn't like Matt Smith in this. I thought he was kind of cringe. I thought he was a little just weird. I know a lot of people, when I was listening to Phase Zero, they were like, oh, it's the Doctor. He's in this. It's the Doctor. They were so like, oh, it's Matt Smith. It's Matt Smith. But I haven't seen any of the Doctor of Doctor Who, so I wasn't as hyped about Matt Smith to begin with. And they played him off as like a very charming, very suave man, but he just didn't. The writing didn't go with that. I think they were hoping that you would go with how Matt Smith is in the Doctor Who show, and kind of typecast that into and help you move that plot along, but it didn't work for me.
Okay.
Mike, I'll say this: my highlight of this film is Matt Smith, and
Which part? Which part?
Just any scene he's in. I don't care how dumb it was, how bad it was written, or his character motives being unclear. I just love him as an actor.
The
and
dancing scene.
yes, that
dancing
scene is terrible.
scene.
Oh
my goodness! All right,
man.
gentlemen, I am gonna.
Oh, can I share my favorite character real quick?
Yes.
All right, because Ethan didn't mention him. He said that your highlight is Matt Smith. Mine is that agent dude. He was hilarious.
Oh, the guy you don't know his name.
Yeah,
Okay.
Agent Rodriguez, apparently
So
on IMDb.
not
That's his name.
Tyrese Gibson.
Not Tyrese Gibson. I didn't care about him. Al Madrigal. Man, whew, he was awesome. He dropped the
Wow.
most jokes. I thought it was funny how he was parodizing the movie they were in.
Wow.
So it kind of helped to feed the audience to. There were a lot of quips from my audience.
Yes.
A lot of quips, and I thought that was hilarious. So whenever Al Madrigal's character came on and said the same quips that we were all thinking, I thought it was hilarious.
Let me ask you guys this: how full was your theater when you went and saw it?
Packed.
Packed. Same here.
I went yesterday at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on a Friday night, and there
Were
was
you at the
maybe
WoW? Were you at
a
WoW
few
7?
people there. You know,
Wow. Which
Yeah.
theater did you go to?
I went to NCG.
Okay.
NCG, really?
Yeah.
I went to a Regal cinema out in Clarksville, Tennessee, so a bit further from my house. Um, and it's like the only theater in the area. If you don't go to that one, you pretty much have to go to Nashville.
Mm.
So it was packed, and they had showings every hour. So yeah, I went to the 8:30 showing on Thursday night.
Yeah, I went to AMC 7 o'clock showing, and the theater was packed. AMC right down here in downtown St. Petersburg.
Was it an
And
IMAX or?
we had the option to go see it in IMAX, and I didn't want to pay the money for it.
I-
So I was like,
I'm
I'm
glad
just
you
gonna go
didn't.
see it in regular. So I went there. It was packed, and legitimately, boys, I don't know if maybe we're watching old Marvel films, and this reminds me of an old Marvel film, but I'm going to pull a Howard the Duck Micah situation and straight up, no cap, tell you that I actually enjoyed this movie. And I hate the two Venom movies. I hate the two Venom movies. Sony's whole direction and their whole crap with their Spider-Verse, I just absolutely hate. But for some reason, when I was watching this movie, sitting through the movie, I was thinking, all right, when is this going to get bad? When is this going to get bad? Because I had seen so many things. I mean, this is an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got
Really?
a 4.7 on IMDb. So I was sitting in the theater and I was waiting for it to get bad. And for me, it never did.
Not even the Incredible Hulk line.
I don't know.
I'm getting hungry,
it's
and
not
you don't want to
even-
see me when I'm hungry.
Yes,
Get 'em
it's
Snickers,
not
man.
even that this movie was trying to be cheesy so much that it's good like the Venom movie was. I don't know what it was, but I never found myself bored, and I was never like I was a little disappointed because Spider-Man never showed up, and then it got to the end credit scene, and Vulture wasn't in it, and I was like, how can you market this with Vulture in it and not have him in it? But if you go into it expecting no connectivity and just Michael Morbius focused story, I had a totally fine time, and I actually enjoyed it. I agree with Micah. The action was really good. I thought the CGI was a little bit rough on their faces,
Really?
especially when they're
Oh, on the faces, yeah. On the faces, yeah.
right. But it never lost. I was never sitting there like, oh, like I was in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, or the first Venom movie. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what it was. Their whole narrative of we're the Spartans, the few against the many. It's just these two against the world, and then them separating in the movie. It's like your Amazing Spider-Man 2 situation where you need the blood, but you can't get the blood. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was, guys. I honestly liked this movie. Liked this movie. So
yeah. What did you like about the movie? What'd you like?
even the score was not that bad at all. I mean, the guy
Really?
doing the score is not even. I mean, he's done like 3 things in the past, but his opening title sequence with Morbius was really good. And I read the Morbius comics that he appeared in, started back in like the Spider-Man comics way back in the 60s, I think is what it was, or the 70s. And then I read his modern comic run for 2019, and I think they get his character pretty spot on. He's a guy who's conflicted and who doesn't want to be the bad guy. He just has this disorder of like, I need blood. I need it. I can't live without it. And I think they captured that perfectly. There's a whole sequence in the comic on the boat, and it totally works in the movie. Like, they went to the boat in the movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, they ripped that straight out of the comic. I was happy with that. And then there were genuine moments where it was like a horror film. Do you guys remember the hallway sequence?
Yeah.
When he looks down and he dots up and down the hallway. Not Morbius, but Matt Smith's character.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, and all right, come on, Jared Leto's getting crapped on, but he didn't do that bad in this movie.
All right, so I liked Jared Leto in this. I liked I think the doctor dude, Jared Harris, Dr.
older
Emil
guy?
Nicholas, the older guy.
didn't
Yeah.
really
I
care
thought
for
he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I didn't like Martine Bancroft, the girl, the love
she
interest.
was, she
I
was
thought
eh.
I didn't think that they had the relationship built up as it felt like they were trying to in the finale. But Jared Leto, I think he did a stellar
Great
job.
job. I
I
think
think
he's
that
crapped on just because it's popular to crap on him. I think
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
it is.
I think that he is the most well-written character in this movie, no doubt.
Yes.
I think they do a nice job with the whole Morbius line. I didn't like the kid version of Morbius as much.
That was a little goofy. I'll
Yeah.
admit that. But I also
Yeah.
really liked Matt Smith. I'm not lying when I tell you I was laughing my butt off in the theater when he's dancing. It reminded me of Bully Maguire, just a weird, cringy dance
No, yes, I
sequence.
got big Bully Maguire vibes.
I was like,
But here,
yeah.
going back to what you said, Ben,
Yeah.
this movie is not 19% bad. I don't
No.
agree
No,
with that.
it's not 19%.
But it is not, I do not think this is a good movie. Things are just happening without sense. You have a character say something, an idea is spawned in one scene, then the next scene, it's forever, like 6 days later, maybe, and just something's happening. It just feels like a highlight reel from scene to scene. It doesn't feel like there's any character growth, any character development. And you were saying you felt like Michael Morbius's character motives were genuine and you could feel it. I felt nothing. You couldn't feel anything. You have him wanting to be a good guy this whole movie. And then in that end credit scene, he wants to join the Sinister Six. No,
all
it
right.
doesn't make
That
any
end credit
sense.
scene shouldn't be
That
canon.
was weird, though. So that was weird, because let's just get into the end credit scene, because you have a scene that this is why they delayed the movie. It ties into No Way Home, ladies and gentlemen. When I saw that purple sky, I was like, no way. No, this could be.
No
this
way home.
could be.
No way home.
Epic. This could be epic. And then he just appears, and I was like, Sony not only they've progressed from putting not only their marketing the ending of the movie, now they're marketing the post-credit scene of the movie, just so that. And I agree with you there. Their marketing was so off, and if you have to do that to get Marvel fans into the theaters, I think it's a bad idea. But if you're going in just a Morbius movie, that's where I think it shines. Just that by itself.
Very strong with the vampire part.
Yes.
All of his powers I thought were awesome. I didn't like the takes. I was listening to Phase Zero today, and they were talking about Morbius, and I didn't like their takes about Morbius's powers, how they were like unfounded or whatever. I thought that all of his powers were so cool, and they can be used in creative ways, and they did use them in a couple pretty cool ways.
Yes.
His super strength and his flight and his super hearing, I thought was awesome. Or echolocation.
Yeah, he has all those powers in the comics, except for the bat, like him, forcing the bats. I guess I don't really know what that was all about.
It's like
that's
Aquaman.
That's not a comic book power, but. Anyway, the post-credit scene, he drives out to the desert and Vulture.
He drives.
comes
He
out.
doesn't fly.
Right.
You know, he can fly, but it felt like a car commercial, dude.
Right. Totally.
There's that
I
zoom
think
in on the
that was
dash
actually
cam.
Sony's concept car.
Yeah.
I think that because
No.
Sony has a concept car
It
that
was
they've
not.
shown at GDC and stuff,
You kidding me?
or not GDC, some electronic conference,
Oh my.
and it looked just like it.
Oh my gosh. Well, he goes out there and then he meets him, but I don't think he joins the bad guys. Because Michael Keaton says the dumbest line. I will say the movie was good. Post-credit scene was not. He goes
Garbage,
Let's
yeah.
let's join up together and do some good. What? What?
It's like
he was
Sony.
a bad guy. He's
They,
insane.
they should have had
teasing-
different. Yeah,
Sony is teasing the most boring Sinister Six I've ever seen.
Yes.
I'm not even kidding.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not invested. If you're gonna team up with Venom and Morbius and Vulture, who cares? I don't care about this. Again, it's just why make movies on Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man?
now I was
Like-
talking with I watched this movie with my aunt and my cousin. It's the same cousin I watched Blade with, and so we were talking about the Blade connections and stuff. But we'll get into the Blade later. But for the post-credit scene, I was talking with my aunt about it, and she was like, yeah, it's just the post-credit scene doesn't match what was going on in the movie. And I was thinking, I was like, I feel like other post-credit scenes have done this before, where it's like, that doesn't make too much sense to put that there. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, the Doctor Strange and Thor post-credit scene. You guys remember that one? How they just happen to get along? Thor gets abducted by Doctor Strange, and Yeah,
Are
it's the
you
one where he has the
talking
beer.
about-
Well,
It's the one where he
that's
has the beer. And
That's
why did they just get along? This doesn't make sense. Thor wouldn't just get along with someone that he had never seen before, who's taking him and doing these strange things. Strange.
Well, that was a tease for Thor Ragnarok. You
Yeah,
get
it
that
was the tease
actual
for Thor.
scene in Thor.
That
So
set up something. This sets up who knows what. Like, there's no clear plan. I mean, Craven...
Yeah, we don't know what's going to
Right.
happen next, but I think that the tones are the same with it. Like, why does Thor appreciate Doctor Strange right away, and why does Morbius appreciate Vulture right away? It's because they don't know each other. And, Thor's like, oh, this guy's cool magic. And Morbius is like, okay, cool Vulture guy who just appeared out of nowhere from a different dimension. Maybe he's got something to say. I don't know. We'll see where that story goes. I still have hope for the Vulture, Morbius, Sinister Six, wherever they take that. I'm keeping an open mind because
Right.
they really didn't say much in this one. So we've seen worse.
The only way that they can make it work, I think, is if they make this version Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, or the PS4 version of Spider-Man. I was leaving the theater and I was like, how could they spice this up? This is Sony property. I mean, Tom Holland's tied to the MCU. How can you spice this up, man? And if they added the PS4 Spider-Man, it would take the cake for me.
They've got their Spider-Man universe with Across the Spider-Verse coming this year.
That's true.
So who knows if they're gonna try to end credit seeing that one with a live action Miles popping up. But the whole point of the Sinister Six is they can't beat Spider-Man on their own, so then they formed the team. But now they're just forming a team to do some good. Why?
What good are you doing? That's what I'm saying.
If they were going to do a Sinister Six, I feel like they should have bounced off of No Way Home into that. Or No Way Home into the Sinister Six. They shouldn't have broke up the Sinister Six that was right there in the movie, and then they just don't have it anymore. Like, how are they going to jump back into a Sinister Six when it was right there?
Did you see his tweet, Daniel Espinosa's tweet? He was like, if I confirmed which universe this took place in, I would get shot. And
he specifically said, if I confirm that it's in Garfield's universe.
Oh, was it that one?
I heard that. I heard that it was Garfield's
okay.
universe.
But that just shows,
that he would be killed.
Dude, that just shows you where Sony's at right now, man. They don't know where they're at. That's the thing. It's like you have Marvel, who's cranking out top tier movies every 3-4 movies every year, and they're all really good. And then you get this movie that seems like it's from 2004. Let me get something straight. Like, I enjoyed myself during this movie, but I don't think it's like in the top echelon of comic book movies. This is, for me, it's right down the middle of the road. And it's like, why are you still cranking out these mid movies? Venom 2, Morbius, Craven's coming out later on.
Madam Web.
Web, right?
Like,
then
no.
Things like Spider-Verse coming out. Like, how?
Yeah.
How are they doing this?
Well, that's the brothers or whoever. They know what they're doing.
My frustration, like I said before with this movie, isn't necessarily the movie. It's just with Sony as a whole right now. I felt robbed, and I feel like their direction is really, really questionable. Like, I'm annoyed that I had to go see Morbius because they are so Marvel adjacent now that, like, now to figure out what happened to Michael Keaton from Spider-Man Homecoming, I have to see Morbius. And I hate that they're doing this because I totally want to start boycotting these Sony movies because I just don't want to give them any more money. I want their universe to flop, and then we can get Morbius and all these characters in the MCU with Blade.
Yes, we need a Fox situation. Marvel just buys the freaking studio. But Sony's too big for that, man.
Disney buys Sony.
They don't have to buy Sony. They need
Disney
to buy
PlayStation.
the rights to our characters back.
I know, because you got Avi Arad, who's really into this. And I mean, you can totally tell watching this movie that scenes are cut out. I mean, just from the trailers, you're like, there's a whole sequence in that prison. You can't tell me that it's not. That when Morbius goes to prison in this film, that's where he meets up with Michael Morbius.
He's in his prison jumpsuit.
Exactly.
In the trailer.
That's where they meet up. And then they're like, oh shoot, the fans are right. How is this going to make sense? In what universe does it take place in? It doesn't take place in the MCU. No Way Home's out. perfect excuse to put Vulture in this universe somehow, some way. Let's just cut all that out between him and Morbius, and let's have an end credit scene.
Clearly, though, they didn't watch Loki when they established variants.
Yeah, right
So
there,
you don't.
yes.
You could just call him a variant. Instead, you have Michael Keaton show up. He is blipped out of his timeline, put in this new one in a random prison cell, and he asks, "I hope the grub here's better." Like, no, his whole character motivation is his family. He was doing everything for his family, you know. And we're not even talking about the Chitauri tech that he just randomly has in that second post-credit scene.
Yeah, where's he getting that stuff? Come on. What?
He finds it.
Where's he get? Where do you
He
build
knows
a
a guy.
full Vulture suit? You know?
Knows
It's
a guy,
just
you know.
like my frustration is I feel like we were robbed of a much better movie, the Vulture movie. You know, him blipping universes and having to figure his life out.
Well, also, what's the freaking logic to that, dude? The logic is everyone who knows Spider-Man is blipped back to wherever they come from because they're all coming in. But, like, he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but he's a part of this universe. Where's the logic there? There is none. Because there is none. What? It's just that's where the frustration is for me.
I
had a
agree,
good
yeah.
time watching the movie, but Sony's a mess right now, man. They're a mess. And I don't want to see this Craven movie. I don't want to see another 2 hours of a much, like, have Spider-Man. There's a scene where he's on the rooftop, and then he starts kissing his Bancroft chick or whatever, his girlfriend. But he's on the rooftop by himself. And I look over at my brother, and I'm like, oh, come on. This would be a perfect situation. Spider-Man swings up. He's in New York this time. They've got no excuse. Venom
Is it New York? I
takes
thought it was
place in San
Europe.
Francisco, but this one's in New York, man. How do you have Spider-Man not show up when there's an army of bats flying around the city? Even
That'd been
Spider-Man wouldn't ignore that, you know? What's going on, man? As a nerd, it eats at me, man. It eats at me. What's going on?
Well, they had to build up that whatever sequel with Martine being another
Oh my
vampire.
gosh. That's another thing. Their attempts at creating a universe kill me. Like, what?
Oh yeah. Why? How does she become a vampire just from getting a little bit of Morbius's blood? Is that how it works? It just transfers just like that?
Also, that's
Like, what if Morbius is a little cut and then accidentally drops it onto someone? Are they automatically a vampire?
Yeah.
Does any other person that Matt Smith or Jared Leto killed in this movie turn into a vampire?
No,
off
they
screen?
die. They're dead.
So why is she turned?
You even go back into, like, he kills everyone on that ship, and then the time passes by, and then you get those two cops come in, and they're all laying on the floor, still dead. So how is she a vampire?
Well, the other ones, they were talking about how their blood was completely gone from their bodies. Remember, they were saying how many pints of blood are in a body, and they were like, "Oh, I can even drink that many beers in one day or something." And then there was the one in the hallway that Matt Smith ate.
Yeah.
But Martine, I thought dies. She doesn't lose all of her blood. Matt Smith character Milo leaves her on the building to die, and she's like, I've only got one more shot left, you know, and then they go in for a kiss, and then she bites his lip, causing him to bleed. But how would she know that that would save her life? Was that her intention to begin with?
No.
Was that it would turn her into a vampire so that she can live forever?
No, like the
Like
logic
here.
It's like
we just watched Blade like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
right? And the world building they do in that movie is just so good. And that's why, like, when you're thrown into this movie, there's really no world building. The opening scene is him in that cave with bats, and he cuts his wrists. You know, we don't really get much of that. We don't get much of him researching the bats. You just cut from that scene to this scene, him getting an award, and then you cut to another scene, and has a cure. He has this what is it? What do they call it? The blood. This
it's artificial blood.
artificial artificial blood that
Blue blood.
all that happened off screen. He cured so many people, so many things off screen.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see this growth. I want to see this development.
You know what?
I want to care about this character a little more.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I don't care about that, earlier stuff because I think that
You just care about the senseless action fight scenes.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. So I think with a lot of stories, I do care about that stuff, but I think that they they jump that stuff because it's easier to just assume that it happened. Say okay, suspension of disbelief, it happened. He found the cure, whatever. The movie would be too long. It was already an hour 44. I don't think I would have. It would
I don't
have
wanna
dragged
watch
on.
it.
You're right. An
if you
hour
had this-
44 for a movie nowadays. That's way too long, guys. Hour
Oh
44.
man, that's. But for this movie, I think it's the perfect length. If they had anything more, if they had more of the kid scenes, I would have been bored out of my mind. I was already bored with those kid scenes. I was like, oh man, are we staying here for another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
But if they had 10 to 20 minutes of him researching this blood, any more than they already did, I thought that what they had was plenty fine. They showed a computer screen. They said, all right, we've done a ton of trials. This is going to be the next trial. Here we go. We're going to test it on this mouse. We'll see if it works, whatever. And then they do it. We've seen that in movies before. We've seen it with, off the top of my head, what can I think of?
Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Amazing
Dr.
Spider-Man 1.
Connors.
Yeah. We'll
Here,
say
here.
that one.
Can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
It's to me, nothing felt original about this movie. It all
Honestly,
felt
yeah, everything.
like everything about Morbius was taken from something else.
That's why I got my Spider-Man. I got my
Bats
Blade.
felt
Everything.
just
It
like
was a
Batman.
Spider-Man Blade movie.
Blade. Yep. Spider-Man, you have Matt Smith. They're teasing us. He was standing up perched on top of that building after the bar scene, just like Spider-Man. You have the Hulk call out,
Yes.
I'm always, or you wouldn't like me when I'm hungry. You have dang it, what is it?
The serum
The
that
Venom,
kills...
I'm Venom. Like, that's so dumb. Come
Do
on.
your own thing, man. Right.
Yeah. Can we
And
talk
Daredevil.
about
Daredevil was the big one I was getting from this too. Is his radar sense. It's not that any other character can have radar
I think
sense.
it's just echolocation. It's
But
just so
he
similar.
it just felt nothing about him felt cool and original to me.
Yeah.
I really so I was sitting right next to my cousin and we both saw Blade same time. Remember, he was the one that I watched it with.
Yes.
The
And
cheese.
we were pointing out like a lot of stuff was from Blade. And I wonder if that's where they're going with this. Was that the points in the movie that were so similar to Blade were to hint to us somehow that it's going to go into Blade?
But that's the whole frustration we have with this Sony thing, because Blade is an MCU character.
Yeah, and it cannot go together.
It can't go to Blade right now.
And it's like those two characters are so tied together in comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like Morbius is literally the person in the comics who makes Blade who he is in the modern era. Like, and you totally can't do that now. So it's like, but speaking of, hold on, going back to the runtime thing, a little sidebar here. Ethan, you posted on the the Instagram for us. Multiverse of Madness is going to be 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yes, yeah, that was
shorter.
announced today. That's a short film.
That's a short film. I would have thought this would have been 2.5 hours easy.
Yeah,
That's.
but hey,
interesting,
they
man.
don't have to do any. They can just jump right into Multiverse to Madness. It can start off with him meeting Wanda, and then action is thrown.
We'd
right
have to
into
pick
it.
up quick, man. They'd have to pick up real quick.
I trust them. I think it's gonna come
They
right
can
off
do
the
it. They
aftermath
can
of
do it.
No
I'm
Way
not
Home.
doubting they can't do it, but
yeah, it is shorter than I thought it'd be.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading the House of M comic right now. I'm reading the full thing, and oh my gosh, if they can harness just a little bit of this, it's going to be really good. I'm really enjoying the House of M.
Give
comic.
us mutants.
Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. But anyway, back to Morbius. I don't know, man. It's just for me. So for me, all of that aside, though, my frustration aside for the universe that Sony is so frustratingly giving to us, I actually enjoyed myself during Morbius, and I'm not gonna lie, I would probably give this a 6.5, 7 out of 10 for me.
6.5, 7. Wow.
Because I really liked the whole relationship between Morbius and Milo. Those two together, and that's what focuses on it the majority of the time. I liked those two characters really a lot, like especially Matt Smith.
I know.
I completely disagree with
It
that.
might be
Matt Smith, Micah, what
Come
don't
on.
you like about Matt
Right.
Smith? He is
Dude,
the
I just didn't like
highlight
the-
of this
Okay,
movie.
so hold
dude.
on. Micah, have
They
you
hate.
seen-
All right, so I did like when they were walking down the sidewalk. That little banter they had. It was nice. It was like, oh, playful, whatever. And then once he turned, I thought that Milo's motives were just like,
That I agree
where do
with
they come
Michael
from?
right here.
Where does it come from?
Yeah.
Like what? How did what? Because Morbius and Milo, if they were so close, then why wasn't Morbius able to like have a sit down with Milo and like talk to him and say, "Hey, this is what's going on. We're both vampires now. Like you can't change that, Milo. You messed up. We can't. I tried to protect you.
He did.
But you, yeah, but now,
For a second.
yeah,
They
but
did
now
talk
that
about it in the lab, and then he goes crazy because of
yeah,
the blood.
Milo steals the serum and
Off
just
screen.
goes off and does his own thing. And Morbius, tries to say, "Hey, this isn't the right way. Just take some artificial blood with me, and we'll try to work this out. We'll try to see how we can fix this." But Milo's like, "No, I'm not listening to you." And if they were really good friends, then I don't buy any of what happened in the first act. Like, why was the first act even there if we're not gonna see this betrayal as Because I feel like if they were gonna have a good betrayal arc, they should work together at the beginning first. They should work together as vampires. But it just jumps right when Milo becomes a vampire. Before we even know he's a vampire, he's already killing people that we think Morbius. Because I thought it was Morbius in the hallway
So did
with
I.
the lights.
I thought the same
Yeah,
thing.
that's how they played it to be. And we find out together through the cop, through that CCTV footage, that it was Milo the whole time, or that for that hallway one. And that's the betrayal. That's the point of betrayal. And we're like, whoa. But there should have been something before that where they're working together as vampires.
That's what I'm saying. This whole movie felt like things were happening, and they weren't really explaining why they were happening. They just were. The biggest thing was him talking with Milo in that scene. They're like, we're going to have to go to international waters. And then without explanation, they're just already in the international waters with a boat with all these, fugitive gunmen? I don't know, man.
I think the first
Guns
the
for
first
hire.
act gets a pass for most movies with that exposition, just to get you caught up, just to get you into the plot, just to get you into that sense of, all right, now we're moving, now we got the action going.
What you got? I don't know.
So hold on.
Because I feel like that's a pass. They're billionaire doctors. They can do whatever. They can buy a boat. Whatever.
Guns. It's Milo's hired guns. That's who he's got on there. They're going to be whack jobs, and they're all going to get killed anyway because Morbius is going to take them out for a really sick action sequence. Come on.
That was
really
awesome.
Epic. He tearing through those guys with super speed, and I don't know, the action sequences where he jumps towards and then it freezes for just a second when him slashing through. It was really cool to me, but I gotta disagree.
Some people
with
thought
you
they did
guys.
too many of those, but I thought it was all right. I thought it was good.
I thought it was good too, but I gotta disagree with you on the motivation side here for Milo especially, because he starts off and they have their little chat, but you gotta remember that both of these guys, both of them are suffering from they need blood. Every 4 hours and 22 minutes they need blood, so clearly they're not gonna think straight. So yeah, they may have been old friends, but when you're going through this disease that you need to consume blood every 4 hours, it might be a little wonky in the head. And especially for Milo, who never ends up with the cure. He's just crazy. He needs the blood. That's where he's coming from. He's been like totally incapacitated his whole life. And now he's got a chance he sees what it does to Morbius, and now he's got a chance to help himself and make himself and build himself up. Who wouldn't take that? As a cripple, who wouldn't dream of running around like that? And if you can do that, if there's a way to do that, I'm taking that chance any day. And that's what Milo does.
But they should have built that up more with, I think there should have been a scene in there where he confides with Dr. Nicholas. Milo and Dr. Nicholas, they should have said, like, Milo just is depressed. He's like, oh, man, Morbius found this cure and he won't give it to me. And then Dr. Nicholas should inspire Milo to go and get that cure for him, convince Morbius otherwise why he should get that cure. And then he goes back to Dr. Nicholas. Dr. Nicholas realizes that wasn't the decision he should have done, that he shouldn't have convinced Milo, because he doesn't know what that solution was, that it would turn him into a vampire. And then that death scene with Dr. Nicholas would have been so much better too.
I agree. His character probably had a lot more I think as a full thing.
Because I thought that Dr. Nicholas, what we had of him, it was pretty good. I liked it.
He was an
if they fleshed him out more, if they added a couple more scenes with Morbius and Milo, because he was in like 3 scenes, and one of them was when they were all kids,
Yeah.
like that.
He was not
I don't
in
know.
for too much.
I'd say like the whole movie just felt like they made a full-length movie, probably 2 hours, 20 minutes maybe, and they looked at the full product, and Sony was like, "This doesn't work. This doesn't make sense. This isn't good. So let's cut out anything we think might be kind of unnecessary and just do a highlight reel of everything." And I think in doing that, I don't know if they filmed it in the first place, but you lose all character development, all character growth, all character motivations. Like, sure, you get Jared Leto. I think all the performances in this movie are really good overall. I'm overly positive on the performances. I think every actor did a good job portraying what they were trying to do.
So
But you have that interview with Matt Smith, with Phase Zero. He was asked, or with Brandon Davis, he was asked, what are your character's motivations? And Matt Smith, to this day, couldn't tell you what his motivations were as a character. And I think that is just a flaw in the writing. Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, he's the villain. I can't say there's much development into it, but he wants the blood. He has been incapacitated his whole life, and now he has a cure, quote unquote, for this disease. A cure that not only helps him to walk again, but gives him superpowers. That's what he wants. I mean, it's a generic supervillain. I can tell you, I could name 15 MCU films with the same generic character motivation. They want power. So, yeah, there's no genuine Thanos level character, Killmonger level character motivation here, but it's the motivation of, hey, the villain wants power.
So, and I think that they should have shown why else it was bad too. It's killing people and stealing their blood, but even Morbius had access to donated blood and all this blood because they're rich. They can buy blood if they wanted to. And I know that it was part of they want the hunt, they want to hunt down their blood. But I feel like they should have had a different motive other than, they just need to hunt people. They should have. I just finished watching this anime called Demon Slayer about demons, and it's the same thing. They need blood to survive, and they get their power from blood. And what they do in Demon Slayer is the main character's sister gets even more powerful because she finds an alternative to blood. And she finds that through rest and through meditation, she's able to elevate her powers to even higher than there's this upper echelon of demons in the world. And I think that if they had that sort of thing with Morbius, where he finds that this artificial blood, although you don't get to hunt it, it brings your power levels through the roof compared to normal blood. I think that would have been a better solution if they had it so that Milo's barbaric ways were not superior to the alternative.
Yeah, that's true. I also will say that the whole narrative, we've seen it 15 times. As a concept, this movie's just an old generic Marvel film. You have a villain, you have a hero, and then you have a villain with the same powers. Watching that go together is not the most entertaining thing in the world, But it's just
a movie that does that right is our boy Spider-Man over here. With great power comes great responsibility. Yes. Because all three of those Spider-Man movies, the villain has the same powers and responsibilities as Spider-Man. So I think that Raimi does that. Yeah, Doc Ock gets his powers accidentally with power.
Okay, no, I'm talking about the type of powers.
Yeah.
This
they get
vampire,
the same.
This is a vampire. I think Spider-Man. The reason Spider-Man's good.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Goblin, they both get this chemical power that appears to them. Next one, Spider-Man 2, they both have similar. He's got ability to move. Whatever. That's a different podcast. But
it's a different style of power though.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing, and that's why that's why Spider-Man's villains are so nice. Having a spider villain versus a vampire villain, that's a good movie right there. But if you have a Spider-Man and if you have a vampire versus a vampire, it's just Iron Man again. And Iron Man gets a pass because that was the first movie in the MCU. All right.
Well, what about the second movie in the MCU? I would like to argue that Morbius 2022 is just as good as The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to say Iron Man, and I was like,
no, the second movie in the MCU, Incredible Hulk. I think it's the same level. It's all right, the characters, the motives aren't really there.
To be fair, though,
but the action scenes are awesome.
Incredible
and
Hulk is considered one of the worst MCU
It is.
films.
It is.
So
I think it's on the same sort of level.
It's
not. I don't think it's lower than a 5.
I'm
I
with
think
that.
it's.
I'm with that, but I don't think that Morbius is like a 5 or a 4. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed myself watching it. For Sony world building, it gets like a 2. But
I'll have to rewatch Incredible Hulk in our watch through of.
We get to it, man. That's
once we get to it,
man. We're gonna watch
right now,
every film.
in my mind, I'd say that Incredible Hulk, like all the MCU movies, I don't think are any lower than like a 5.
Agreed.
So I would say Morbius, I would rank it at a 6.2. That was my score.
Now, see, I'm
coming out of the theaters. I thought like I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it as much as Howard the Duck, because I enjoyed that in kind of a like, oh, we had a lot of fun watching it. You know, there were some jokes that were funny, and but with Morbius, I really enjoyed the action. I really enjoyed Morbius as a character.
Yep.
Milo was okay. Characters were okay. So, but it wasn't offensively bad. It didn't step underneath 5, but I didn't think it was in a 5 where it was just like a meh movie.
And I'm right there with you. A 6.5, I'd give it out of 10. Like nothing.
Had some qualities.
Nothing great, obviously, but I was never.
But to me, a 6.5 is a really good score.
But you gotta,
in my opinion,
remember though, going into this. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
6.5 is like your. I'm not gonna name any movies right now to get shaded, but just
Howard the Duck.
6.5 is still a decent film in my opinion. It still has good aspects to it, and it's still like really enjoyable. Like a 7 is fantastic in my opinion. Like a 7 is like a really good film, but it just has elements that aren't there.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, there's still another 3.5.
I think the way you guys rank it is
6.5.
just way too high. For me, if we're doing rankings now, this is a 5. This movie.
Do you think it was like a man, nothing really?
Yeah, I mean, what did I give Howard the Duck? I gave that a 2. Yeah, I'd put Morbius a 5.
Did you give it a 2?
Yeah.
Was that the adjusted score?
But that's the thing. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it though. Like, I enjoyed myself during this film. Like, a 6.5 is genuinely where I put it.
Gave it a 2
for me. But I can see how someone would go 5. I can see how someone would go 4 on this movie, because like I can see you going into this movie and not liking it. But for me, I watched it and I was waiting for it to get bad. I was waiting to get bored, and I never did.
I do agree. The 19% Rotten Tomatoes score really is like, real dirty for it.
Set my maybe they're in cahoots, because it set my expectations so low that I was like, yo, what? This is not a 19%.
I mean, you will go back to the way Rotten Tomatoes does things. That do it by thumbs up or thumbs down.
Right.
So that just means most critics didn't enjoy it.
But look at IMDb. This is what, a 4.9, I believe, right now. So, I mean, right underneath a 5. Right where you put it, Ethan. Yeah.
It's all the
Ethan, summarize your takes on it. Like what are the worst, or like the things that bring it underneath a 6 for you?
Just the way the movie flows as a whole. It doesn't at all. Scenes happen. It feels like too much is cut out. I mean, all the actors I think did really good, but I don't think any character motivations are there. I don't think any character development is there. I think the movie ends so abruptly. It just ends. And I don't think there's really like a satisfying beginning, middle, or end. I don't think there's a conclusion really. I honestly thought that I forget her name, the chick. What's her name? Yeah, I thought when she woke up, oh, now I'm gonna have to watch 20 more minutes of Morbius fighting her.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
That would have been a cool last act. I would have liked that.
But then the movie just ended, so it doesn't flow to me at all.
I think that if Bancroft came back,
and also
it would have separated
the
it from
anger
Blade.
with Sony. I gotta bring my anger with Sony in on it, and all the stupid trailers that misled you.
Yeah.
I don't think that we can really judge a movie by its trailer, though. I don't think.
I think this one is fully fine. This one you have to.
When you have scenes that tease like Vulture in the like you.
I think this may be one of the only exceptions.
Let me just say this: you go on IMDb. Michael Keane is the second listed actor after Jared Leto.
And that's crazy.
He's jumped down to 5 by now. I don't know why.
He is only in the end credit scene.
Yeah.
Like all the promotional stuff leading up to it, you're convinced, okay,
paid
Michael
way too
Keaton
much
has a
more.
major role in this movie. It's not that a producer or the director said, yeah, Michael Keaton's going to have a cameo in this. No, you were led to believe he's going to have a major role in this movie, and he doesn't.
You know
So
who
that also leads into it.
Yeah. Well, you know what I honestly didn't know that Matt Smith was going to be in this movie as much as he was. Like, I didn't know that he was going to be the main villain. My brother didn't even know he was going to be in the movie. When I told him that Matt Smith was going to be, like, he's seen the trailers and he was like, "Oh, Matt Smith is going to be in this movie?" And he's watched Doctor Who and everything, and that got him excited. So I'm like, all right, he's in the film. And so he's like, all right, now I'm excited. And he's like, he takes up a good chunk of the runtime too.
I will say,
I thought he was going to be the detective chasing after Morbius.
yeah, I was really
didn't know-
That's what he
excited
looked
with
like with that big trench coat.
Yeah, I was really excited with Matt Smith's screen time and his involvement in the film. It really
His green
elevates
screen
it for
time.
me.
I like
The
that.
green screen time, yeah. Dude, I don't
Did
know.
I say green time?
The green?
He said green and then he said screen.
Ah, nice.
That was funny.
But I don't know. Like, Micah,
Works.
have you seen Doctor Who?
I'm not.
Then maybe that's just what it is for us, Ethan.
See, that's what I thought. I thought it was just like
him so like he's
a
such good
beast.
he is a beast. He's so
listening to Phase Zero. They were like, "It's Doctor Who. It's Doctor Who," and I was like, "I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype, man. I
So
just not."
there, it must just be that.
I thought his accent, while it is his natural accent, I thought it was like obnoxious for his character.
I could listen to Matt Smith talk
If
all
they grew
day.
up in the same situation their whole lives, why do they not have the same accent?
Well, they didn't.
Yeah, they're
From what we see on screen, their relationship extends a scene in the childhood.
Yeah.
They're in that room. He freaking rips the machine apart, puts a spring in it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and then
then they're best friends for life. He never sees him after like a week after that because he goes to the school. So then, why are they such good friends still?
That's the thing.
Like if they don't see each other very often,
we're just told things in this movie.
We're told things and expected to just believe
This is
them.
the thing. You have to show me, don't tell me. You know?
Show don't
It's
tell.
like that.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah,
It's
The
like
opposite of last week's with X-Men. They wrote that movie like we were smart and not stupid.
Exactly.
This movie, they're feeding it to us. They're spoon feeding.
But Ben, hold up. What did you rate X-Men?
Yeah, what did you rate X-Men?
Well,
we have a
6.9.
6.5. 6.5 for X-Men.
For X-Men.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Morbius and X-Men are the same caliber for you?
Same deal.
Really?
I think so.
I give X-Men more of a pass, but I was bored with X-Men, man. Like, I'm right there. Absolutely. I'm honestly serious when I say that I've enjoyed myself more watching Morbius than I did with X-Men. X-Men's
Really?
a better built film, but I enjoyed myself more with Morbius. So it's right there in the middle for me. Like I don't really care to see either of those films again. I will say that too. I like the movie, but I don't ever want to see it again. One's enough time. One's enough more.
Next time I'll see this is in like 3 years when we get to it in the
Maybe
series.
save this and just upload it when we.
I will say this, as far as the Venomverse and the Sony movies go, this is my favorite one. I like this better than both Venom films by far.
Absolutely.
That was easy for me to say leaving the theater.
Yep.
Like, okay, I liked it more than I liked the Venom films.
I do recognize that I liked it more than Venom too. I'll agree with that. But it has been a couple of years since I've seen Venom.
When you first heard about him and you went and Google searched the character, or maybe already were familiar with him, like your introduction to the character, what was kind of the coolest thing you found about him? And did you ever pitch the little suckers on the hands from the animated series?
The suckers on the hand that haunted people's childhood. Yes. You know what I loved a lot is the artwork, and that was actually really inspiring because, of course, you have the writers and the stories, the comics, but I feel like the artists too created their own stories with the visuals, and I really spent a lot of time with the art of Morbius, and there's just some beautiful art all the way back to the 70s, and that really inspired and informed the character quite a bit.
Oh yeah, and you and Daniel, the work you put into this, I think there's a few freeze frames that are going to be beautiful little screensavers on people's backgrounds. But there's some nice work in there.
Yeah.
Did you ever pitch the little
So
suckers?
that was the question that was asked to Jared Leto in an interview with Brandon Davis, and when I was listening to that live, I was like, man, are they not going to have any like of those obscure comic book references in the movie? Because what a lot of these MCU movies like to do is they take an obscure part of the comic book meta and they bring it to the new and make it huge and part of like the best part of the character now. I know that there are some I can't think of any. I keep looking over at my MCU collection. I'm like, give me an answer. That's not working. But like Guardians of the Galaxy, this group of Guardians of the Galaxy has become the group. I know that there are tons of Guardians of the Galaxy groups, and this is like the one now. So it's like, I wish they did something like that with Morbius, and because Jared Leto, apparently, according to that interview, he did do research. He has read comics. He knows what Morbius is. They all know what Morbius is in the production studio. Why didn't they add anything cool that's unique to Morbius
it's
to this?
Because they can't use freaking Spider-Man. You can't do these movies without Spider-Man, man. That's what gets me the most annoyed, man.
Yes,
and
I agree. And you have
Spider-Man.
Venom. You have Venom in these movies right now. Two of the most iconic things about Venom. I mean, the three. You know, he's the big black symbiote. He has the spider on his chest, and he shoots webs like Spider-Man. He doesn't, in the Venom movies, he doesn't have two of those traits, and it's so blaring and obvious, and it's really annoying because you're building this universe and you don't have the most iconic thing about this universe.
They're setting that up to fix it with Venom, though. Having the symbiote in the MCU now, I think that they're setting up to
then why should I care about the Venom in the Sony Spider-Verse?
Exactly.
Why should
it's
I
like
care?
they're cutting it off. It's completely gone now. What's the point of Tom Hardy Venomers?
And they took away one of the most underrated MCU villains, one of the better MCU villains, and one of the MCU villains that they kept alive after their origin film. And they took him and brought him into the Sonyverse in Michael Keaton's Vulture. That annoys me a lot.
Yeah, it really, really. Did you guys catch the 3 Easter eggs for the 3 villains on the Daily Bugle newspapers? There were 3 of them. Did you guys catch them?
Which ones are they?
Well, is it Kraven the Hunter?
Nope. I didn't see that. I saw Rhino rampage at the zoo, Black Cat, friend or foe, and then a chameleon Easter egg on the second Daily Bugle one. 3 villains right there who are confirmed to exist in this universe. And I haven't heard one mention of Spider-Man in 3 films.
Also, the thing is, if this is Andrew Garfield's universe, and we're going to get a Sinister Six with Paul Giamatti's Rhino, dude, I'm going to be so mad at that. I
don't want that.
No, I don't want that either.
Right. So,
Can we talk about the real quick? Can we talk about the news in this movie? Like, they just expose Dr. Morbius as this vampire dude as if it's not an open case right now. And it wasn't even him. It was Milo.
And that's the thing. I'm watching this news. I'm like,
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Well, yeah, it totally is. But another thing is like,
and it was a Daily Bugle on the news.
You know who else watches the news to keep up with events when regards to supervillains? Freaking Spider-Man. Yeah. Don't tell me he didn't know about this, man. Spider-Man better be involved with some wacky thing. Like, they better come up with some...
he's off to college. He's off at college right now with Zendaya.
Don't even give me that, man. Because what Spider-Man are they going to use? It's, again, I mean, we've already talked about this, but that's the problem. Because that's the main problem that we've got with these movies. It's my main problem.
I could see them doing a retired Tobey Maguire.
No.
No?
Don't mess with that. Don't
Don't bring the sacredness of Tobey Maguire into Tom Hardy's Spider-Verse.
That's the only reason. That's the only thing I can think of where he wouldn't be there, though. Like Andrew Garfield, I guess he can be sad about, what I haven't seen too. Andrew Garfield. Oh, what's her name?
Gwen.
Gwen. Yes, I haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2. He could be sad about Gwen dying, but but they resolved that in No Way Home. So why would he still be sad when he's like gotten over it?
Hey, you have Michael Keaton's Vulture going to a universe that isn't his. Maybe, who knows where the other Spider-Man went? Maybe they didn't go home. With this logic that Sony gave us, any character could have gone anywhere.
Who knows where anyone is now? Don't matter that we watch this movie. So whoever's going to show up is going to show up at this point. But
I guess if we're looking at a
Here.
timeline, Spider-Man would have been taken out for that period of time and then would have been brought back when the portals were opened up. But I don't know if it's
Ooh,
linear
that
like
could
that.
be.
If it's like a chronological or if it was like a snap where they were instantly back, kind of like the opposite.
So
of
did
what-
Michael Keane get transferred at the beginning of the spell, and then 3 minutes after this post-credit scene, he's brought back? Whoa.
Imagine if they pull a Venom on
That's
us
a good-
before the next movie with
Right.
Keaton.
Here, I want to go back to what Micah was saying about how the news, they just things were happening on the news. I felt like that was the whole movie. You have that he is in the restaurant with the other doctor lady, and he senses that these guys are using fake $100 bills, and then assumes, oh, they have a machine, they have a lair where they make this.
Where he
Then
can
goes
process
back there,
the blood.
and he takes these printing machines
right.
and turns them into machines that help him make blood. What?
He's got the "I have science, so I can do anything" power.
Yeah.
What
Not
about
to add that to list?
What about that early plot that just kind of appeared and went by, where he was in, what was it, like Sweden or something, at an awards ceremony, and
They
he
cut it out of the movie.
he
Like,
gets to he goes to stand up on his canes, and then it cuts and they're like, "Why did you diss that guy? Oh, that's so bad." I also dissed the entire board.
I didn't
Like,
want to accept
what?
that award.
I didn't want to accept it. That could have been a really cool character development spot. I think that they could have like showed that happen. Give us a little bit of Morbius's, a little bit of his angsty side or his whatever side, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But we don't know what to call that side because we didn't get to see it.
See,
All we saw was like his, I'm so
Yeah.
weak and can't move.
I think Sony.
Very well.
Here's what I think. I think Sony knows that these films are a little trash, man. They're not MCU caliber. So let's tease Spider-Man villains. Let's tease connections to the MCU, and just go for it and get people in seats just so they can see this movie, and cut it down so it's not the worst thing in the world. Let's cut it down to like an hour 40, so that people aren't like losing their minds. I mean, an hour 40 is manageable for any movie, no matter what, and only put in what needs to be in there. They did the same thing. Warner Bros. Was doing this with their movies too, with Justice League. Only put in what's necessary.
Yeah, and I mean, whoa, you definitely get that. This movie was delayed 5-6 times,
Yep.
and then the fact that the date they finally set on and committed to was April 1st. It's just poetic to me. That's
It's a joke.
just my opinion.
It's a
Yep.
joke. As what it
Biggest
is.
joke of the movie.
That it came out on April 1st. I was waiting for them to acknowledge it because it was self-aware. This isn't really in regards to Morbius, but I sat down to the theater, and I don't know what it is, but I think movie theaters are having long previews, because I sat in front of 25 minutes of previews before this movie happened.
Well,
And
I-
an AMC
At
too?
an
Those are
AMC,
expensive tickets.
25
Dang.
minutes of trailers.
that's crazy.
Oh,
I
but
showed up.
You know what you did get to watch though? That Across the Spider-Verse trailer.
Yes,
Dude,
I did. Yes, I
that was
did.
pretty good with the surround sound.
I'll take
Whew.
that. I'll take those 2 minutes instead of the. No, I'm being too negative. I like the movie. You guys are bringing me down, man. What the heck?
Good. That's my whole intention of showing up here today.
Oh, what, man? I can't have my opinion? Come on.
No, you can have it. You gotta have a good
You're
opinion.
just wrong because I said so.
No, I've talked about for the majority of this why I think that.
Oh no, hey.
No, I'm glad you two liked it.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know if
I
Mike
enjoyed
is as positive as I am about
I
it.
didn't think it was a good movie, but I thought it was. I enjoyed it.
I just think
I don't
Ben's
regret watching it.
6.5 is crazy.
Yeah. Well,
It's kind of like
I could see a 6.5. I
It's
can
not
see all the
near-
way up
well,
to a 6.5.
Micah.
and then as
Micah,
low
you
as a-
can see it because you gave Howard the Duck a 6.5.
Yeah.
So
and that's right. I don't like movies like this. Although,
But I gave Howard the Duck extra bonus points because
Right.
I had such a fun time ragging on it, man. That
Well,
was
you
part of
can't.
the enjoyment.
I don't know.
That's part of the enjoyment. And part of the enjoyment of this movie, as with all the other movies, is, hype around it, talk about it, getting to reminisce on, oh, that fight scene was so cool. And, oh, man, that was that was awesome. And that's what gets it a couple more extra points for me is that I keep playing that one scene in my mind where he does that flip and he scratches the guy and there's the blood splatter on the camera and you see it just for a couple seconds. I thought that was the coolest shot ever. That was so cool. And
Ever.
in the movie. Ever. The coolest shot.
Yes.
Oscar nominee. You guys see that? The Oscars, there was the fan vote for the best cheering moment of all
Yes.
time.
That's crazy.
And it's
man.
the Speedverse.
Listen, I like
made it.
that scene.
Speed
but
Force made
the
it.
fact that beat Venom and Spider-Man is a little. I can.
Well, here,
see
this
the
is what
Spider-Man,
happened.
But
Is the Snyderverse fans, they had a film made. They got Zack Snyder's
them.
Justice League made. And the vote for this Oscars thing was on Twitter. So I think Snyderverse fans are the loudest out of any other fans. They're going to voice their opinions. And then there were 2 MCU scenes that split the vote there. So there was that. And then you had Army of the Dead also winning, which is also a
Okay.
Snyder film.
that
So
was
I think
crazy.
I think Zack Snyder's fan base just went all out on Twitter. And I mean, it shows.
Yeah.
Which, hey, listen, man.
So yeah, with Morbius, there were things that stuck with me. That's what I'll say.
I'm
I'll say
right there with you. Am I ever
Yeah.
going to watch this movie?
there are iconic parts
Probably
about this
not.
movie.
Will you probably own the
style.
Blu-ray at one point? Yeah, for sure.
For
Yeah.
collection purposes. of
I'll get
course.
that 4K steelbook with like 8 different Sony Spider-Man movies. It's got like it's got like
Sony-verse.
Venom. It's got Venom 2. It's got Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse 1, 2,
Kraven
No Way
the
Home,
Hunter.
Far From Home, Homecoming. All of them. It's got every
Right.
single
Then you can justify it to yourself. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got all these good
Morbius.
movies
Yeah, I gotta say that one
with
too.
this bad movie. But overall, man, I mean, if you think this take is bad, Ethan, just wait till we get to X-Men Origins Wolverine, because people hate that movie, and I kind of like that movie.
I'm
so-
excited for that one.
I know.
said it
I'm
last
glad
week,
we
I'll say it
all.
again.
I'm glad we all got different feelings on Morbius here.
So
too.
where
Yeah.
where is this movie going? What is your final thought on where is Morbius going?
Because
He's going to join the Sinister Six. That's my final thought.
You think so?
A Sinister Six of good guys. Maybe a
Good
serving.
guys,
They'll
good-
call
doing
it
good things.
the serving six.
Yeah, well,
You know, 'cause
that's
they're
what
The
I'm
gonna be
Super
doing good
Six.
things.
Why are you going to set up a Sinister Six movie
The
when this guy
ridiculous
says,
six.
let's team up to do some good? To do some good. The Sinister Six doesn't do good. Their first thing is sinister. Like, what's that all about, man?
Well, all the villains think they're doing the right thing. so
Plus,
it's
Michael
kinda-
Keane just gave up on getting home to his wife and family and just wants to form a Sinister Six.
Exactly.
Yeah, what's
Weird.
that about, man? Hopefully the food's better. Oh, what about my wife and daughter? You know?
Oh crap! Where am I?
Yeah.
And that's not how prison works, is it? If a random inmate shows up in inmate clothes, they just release him.
Oh,
you're
what
not-
would they do? They
you're
don't
not
have
supposed
any
to be there,
evidence.
bud.
They don't even know the guy. They
Yeah.
don't they even give? Doesn't he give them the wrong name too?
No. he
No,
gives
it
them
was the right name. I didn't
Yeah,
recognize the name when they said it. I was like, oh,
Toombs, I
yeah.
think is what it
So-
is.
Tombstone.
Tombstone.
So, I guess they're setting up a Sinister Six. They're going for it.
Hold up. Trevor kept Milo's character kept saying Michael, like the whole movie.
Bruce
And, yep. And Trevor kept leaning. I was sitting next to Trevor Rife. Shout out to him. He kept leaning over to me saying, Bruce Wayne.
And hey, listen, it was all off screen, so maybe they did it after the Batman came out. So,
That's some quick editing right there.
hey, listen,
Oh,
they
man.
edited the skies after No Way Home came out. You know what I'm saying? You know that didn't happen until No Way Home came out. They were like,
Oh, no.
oh, there's our excuse.
They
Perfect."
saw the trailer for No Way Home and they were like, that is sick. We gotta include that.
Yeah. They were going for that January whatever release date. That was never going to happen. But I'm just glad that this movie's out, and now we don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
we can
I'm
be hyped
glad
for
too.
Kraven the Hunter. Let's go.
Yeah, we can be
Starring
hyped for
Quicksilver
Miss
from the
Marvel.
MCU.
Ooh, Miss Marvel.
Hey, before both those, we got Multiverse of Madness.
Let's
folks.
And
stop.
Moon Knight, we still have a whole Moon Knight show.
Moon Knight,
Right,
yes.
that's right.
Yes.
Next week we'll be watching Moon Knight episode 2, and we'll be doing an episode of 1 and 2. So stay
Yes,
tuned for that
yeah.
one.
I'm glad that they put that right during Moon Knight. Maybe they did that intentionally. So peak Marvel's coming out. Marvel fans can't be too upset because That first episode was pretty hype, man.
Yeah, I got stuff to talk about with Moon Knight, but I don't think it'd be like a full episode for the first episode.
Yeah.
So
not in the Morbius one. Overall, all right, we're gonna say our score now. I mean, we kind of have already given it. I'm going 6.5.
You're going 6.5?
6.5. Ethan?
I'll go
Going up?
5.2.
5.2.
we got him.
Just
We got those extra
0.2 points. Just
And
a
I'm
little bit up
going
there.
6.2. So
6.2.
yep.
So I
Yeah.
think it's where it deserves, man. It's not a spectacular film, but I think the action sequences are great. I think the acting performances are also really good. They're getting unnecessary hate on the internet. But is this top echelon of Marvel? Is it even great Marvel? No, I don't think so. I think this is middle of the road. I went in with super low expectations. So if you're going to watch Morbius, go in expecting an 18%. And
Audience
you might have a
score,
good
audience
time.
score. I can see that audience score. It's at a 67 right now. I can see that.
Oh, wow. No way.
Yeah. I can see that. And it's got thousands.
I don't know.
plus
We should never
verified
look at
views.
those audience scores. If you look at
The Venom ones, those ones are a little whack.
the Venom ones and Rise of Skywalker, you will be pretty disappointed.
Rise of Skywalker has its fans, man. Once we finish the Marvel marathon, maybe we should do a Star Wars.
I've got some
marathon.
thoughts about Rise of Skywalker that are pretty positive. So, yeah, I know
Really?
Ben will hate me for him,
Really,
but
because I hate that movie, man.
Hey, if anyone can love those movies, I'm all for it. It's just
Yeah.
hard to.
All right, are we missing
live
anything,
slug
gentlemen?
reaction.
Are we missing anything for Morbius?
You want to talk about what we for Morbius?
For Morbius? Are we missing anything? I think
Not
that's
much.
it, right? We've given our scores. We've given our thoughts.
Yep.
It's pretty middle of the road. I think that does it. So, I mean, this will be up at our usual time on Monday. Next week, we've got Blade 2. Stay tuned for that. I'm really excited. I still haven't seen that movie yet. So I'm planning on watching it. I think Monday is a whole free day for me once we get back at like 1 in the morning.
There'll be a bonus episode with Morbius 1 and 2, so we'll be excited for that.
Right in the middle.
Moon Knight.
And then...
I mean, not Morbius episode 2, Moon Knight episode
exactly,
2.
right, exactly.
So
So
Morbius 2 coming out.
expect the
next
Marvel movie rewatch for Blade 2. Expect that Moon Knight episodes 1 and 2. And we will see you guys later. But for now, this is Ben Rayside
This is Ethan Wetzloff.
This is Micah Het.
signing off. We all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.